Biden administration clearly is going all out on its push, with a closing message on the economy. These numbers won't hurt. Starting with President Biden, who's going to go to Syracuse, New York today. An administration official says Biden's major economic message will be reinforced by more than a half a dozen other administration officials who will also hold economic focused events today, including a major economic address in Ohio from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. By tomorrow, officials will have made 77 trips to 29 states just this month, with more already planned. And with this latest breaking news in mind, let's bring in White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain. So the economy grew. That's good. But if you could, Ron, give us in the most basic terms what the Democratic message on the economy is, what you hope voters will take in these final days before the midterms.
Well, look, first of all, thanks for having me, Mika. And look, what you're going to hear the president say today is three big things about the economy. First, the economy, we are making progress on the economy. It's not just the GDP numbers you mentioned. The economy did grow. Inside that is a measure of price. It came down dramatically. We're seeing some easing on inflation. Inside that also is a measure about real incomes after inflation. That was negative last quarter, 2 quarters ago. It's positive in this new report. So incomes up, prices down, economic growth. And the thing that's most visible to people is what they're seeing with gas prices. Just 2 weeks ago, the most common pump price in America was $3.79. It's now down to $3.39. So our first message is we're seeing some improvements. Secondly, we know there's more work to do. Inflation remains the #1 economic challenge. The president's put measures in place to start to address that, to improve our progress on inflation, like the Inflation Reduction Act, which takes effect January 1st. We're just a few weeks away from that relief, like the actions he took yesterday on junk fees to bring down everyday costs. We know that's hurting people. We know it's squeezing people, and we're addressing that. And the third point he's going to make today is what's the choice here? What's the choice? Republican leaders in Congress have said that if they get control of the Congress, they're going to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act, cut taxes for corporations, raise the deficit. That'll make inflation worse. Get rid of the cap on prescription drug costs that takes effect on January 1st. Get rid of Medicare's ability to negotiate prescription drug costs. That's going to make inflation and everyday costs worse.
So how do you draw a line between how people are feeling about the economy, which, if you've listened to voters over the past few weeks, whether it's through polling or talking to actual voters or focus groups, they're concerned about the economy. They don't think the Democrats are strong on the economy. They don't think that Democrats are strong on crime. How do you draw a line between the lives they're living today and the experiences they're experiencing and what you say is to come and the wins that have already been had by the Democrats?
Well, look, Mika, I think both are true. Look, I think that, as I said a minute ago, people are being squeezed by high prices. The cost of living squeeze on families has been with us for decades. It isn't solved yet. I do think we made some significant measures this year which take effect next year, and we're going to talk about those. I do think also I know some of the polling about the economy, I think, is also out of date since some of those polls were taken. Again, the price of gas has come down dramatically. We're seeing economic growth. We're seeing prices come down. We're seeing real income go up. So I think we have to bring up to date the narrative to where it is today. But again, I think the most important thing I can emphasize here is that there is just a choice about where we go from here. Are we going to continue to do the things that will bring prices down next year, that will control inflation next year with the Inflation Reduction Act? Or will Republican leaders in Congress succeed in repealing all those things, helping big corporations, cutting taxes for big corporations, and seeing prices for consumers and families, seeing those prices go up? That's the real choice between where the Democrats are headed on the economy, where the Republican congressional leadership's headed on the economy.
Hey, Ron, good morning. Polls have suggested for a while now that inflation was top of mind, the economy top of mind for American voters. We've heard warnings from inside the Democratic Party and its allies, Bernie Sanders among them, saying, hey, Democrats need to be talking about the economy more. It can't always just be about abortion rights or threats to democracy. We need to talk about these pocketbook issues. And the White House has come under some criticism for moving slowly on this or getting it wrong. Last year, the inflation was deemed transitory by many in the administration. It obviously was not. So my question is, why the late pivot here to the economy as the closing stretch? Why not make this argument a little earlier in the campaign season?
Willie, the president's been talking about the economy and inflation all year long. In fact, his signature economic achievement this year in August was a bill called the Inflation Reduction Act. So he's been out there fighting to bring down prices. He's been out there fighting to bring down the price of gas. It fell all summer. We had a little increase in early October. We're bringing it down again. He's been out there fighting to bring down the cost of prescription drugs. This is something he's been talking about all year long, and again, succeeded in getting a bill passed. So we are not coming to this economic argument late. We've been on this argument all year long. We're going to continue to be on this argument next year, too. The economy and inflation is a critical problem. The president's put forward measures to address it. We passed them through the Congress. For 30 years, people have been trying to get prescription drug prices under control. We got a bill passed to do it. The Republicans in Congress say if they win this election, they will repeal that provision. That's a clear difference. It's a clear choice.
Ron, good morning. It's Willie now. That was Lemire before. We're throwing a lot of bodies at you. We're throwing a lot of bodies at you. No, not your fault. We got a lot of people hosting our show. Let me ask you about the places that President Biden is going. Obviously, Pennsylvania is pivotal. He's going to be there, spend a bunch of time there over the next 12 days. But today, going up to the state of New York, I know that's an economic announcement, and he's going to make a speech there, but also throwing his support behind a governor he probably didn't think a few months ago he'd have to help across the finish line in a blue state, in Kathy Hochul. Have you all been surprised at some of the places that Democrats have had to put effort, have had to put money, have had to put support, as Republicans put real pressure on places that went +8, +10, +11 for President Biden in 2020?
Well, Willie, I do need to be careful here. I'm covered by the Hatch Act. I can't be a political prognosticator. What I'll say is that the president's a big fan of Governor Hochul. She's doing a great job. His trip to Syracuse today is really about a national economic achievement. What they are unveiling in Syracuse today will be the largest private investment in a new manufacturing facility in the history of this country, creating thousands of jobs, many of which will pay a six-figure salary, even to people who do not have a college degree. So that's a national economic achievement. It also is an economic achievement, thanks to Governor Hochul's leadership, thanks to Senator Schumer's leadership in helping get the CHIPS and Science Act bill passed through the U.S. Senate. So we're happy to go to Syracuse and talk about that today, and I think that's something that resonates. Look, the president was in Ohio a few months ago to unveil what was then the largest such investment in southwestern Ohio, a new Intel plant there. One of the interesting things we're seeing is because of what the president has done, what Congress has done, we're seeing major investments in manufacturing in parts of this country that have been forgotten for decades, ignored for decades. Central New York, southwestern Ohio, a big Micron facility in Idaho. Places that have been left behind are seeing high-quality jobs, advanced manufacturing, new technological innovation because of what the president and his allies in Congress have gotten done.
White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, thank you very much for coming on the show this morning.
Thanks for having me, Mika.